Hello and welcome to Clicks and Classics, the series where I will be playing classic or at least older point-and-click adventure games that I loved playing back in the day or that are completely new to me and then I never got the chance to play. The first game in this series will be Sherlock Holmes: The Awakened, a crossover where Sherlock Holmes meets a lot of Lovecraftian elements. You see that a little bit in the background of the menu screen already. I played this game back in the day, but I have very little recollection of it, only that I enjoyed it, and I want to explore this game with all of you and want to see if we can solve the case with Sherlock Holmes. This is from the Sherlock Holmes series from Frogwares, a developer studio that did a bunch of point-and-click adventures with Sherlock Holmes, and they're still doing some, and they're absolutely phenomenal. I can only recommend them. And now let's jump into the game and see what this game has in store for us.
Go away, you swine! Leave, or I'll make you bleed!
These all came from the swamps. Could be toting contraband.
Holmes! Help me! Do not fight the calling!
Blood!
I beg of you, Holmes! Fatigue! Relieve your blood!
Oh, no, it can't be. It can't end like this.
So our dear
Again,
Watson
this
seems to have a
haunts me.
nightmare.
It won't let me forget. How did this all begin?
Frogwares presents Sherlock Holmes Adventure. The Awakened. Two years ago, 6th September 1894. There we have Watson entering 221B Baker Street. And Mr. Holmes is already waiting.
Good morning, Holmes. Looks like a typical London day. Fog in the morning, fog in the afternoon. Ha! And here's a surprise. Fog in the evening.
Good morning, Watson.
Can you imagine? I have been at it since 5 a.m. and I scarcely think my list of patients for the day has even been touched. What is more insufferable, I haven't even had a moment with the morning paper. They say the minister will assuredly... Holmes, whatever is the matter? You haven't heard a word I have said.
It is the tedium, my dear Watson. Life is ordinary. The papers are lifeless. Any hint of audacity, and dare I say romance, has vanished from the criminal world.
Holmes, it is only temporary. You know perfectly well that sooner or later an exceptional incident will occur in London or thereabout, which cannot rest till the talents of Sherlock Holmes are called into play. Then it will be up to your agile wit to set things right, which should satisfy your constant need for mental gymnastics.
I hope the heavens hear your words, Watson. I hope they do indeed.
I must take my leave, Holmes. I have an appointment with a rather odious man, Captain Stenick. He is apparently in a state, with near tachycardia due to some problem involving his manservant. Why don't you get out for a brisk walk, Holmes? Perhaps buy a newspaper or visit that fellow, Barnes, over on Glentworth Street. You might remember him, the bookseller. He has some new volumes of the particular sort that should occupy your mind for a time.
So Holmes is bored because nothing really is happening lately. His mind is racing, but nothing to race against. Well, Watson is kind of enjoying this. And here we are in the point and click part. Let's go over here. Check out our desk if we have something. Okay, that is... do I have an inventory? I'm not sure. Oh, right click. There we go. Box of matches. Now I am in first person, accidentally. Okay, we have dialogues that we can reread, which is pretty helpful. Documents, but not now. Reports and a map, but nothing to be done right now. I wonder if there's an indicator if we can for things that we can pick up or not, other than just hovering over it. There we have our little laboratory. Is there anything? The issue if there's no direct indicator for things that you can interact with is always that you have to scan the entire screen very carefully, so you better not miss anything. No, that is not the... Okay, we can open this. We have a harpoon. Lots of references to the books already if you look at the portraits or anything else in the game. Nice little details, but it doesn't seem that I can interact with them much right now. We see the Reichenbach fall. Famous story in the books, I won't spoil anything. This, I guess, is Watson's room, but yeah, it appears nothing much to be done. So let's leave our apartment. Go down. Enter the streets of London.
By the Strand!
Should we buy the Strand? I mean, Watson told us to maybe grab a newspaper, so let's talk to the boy.
Strand! Strand! By the Strand!
So, my young friend, what is the news?
Nothing of interest for the great detective, sir. Those old stuffed shirts ate up half of London at their big scientifical to-do, and some Scandinavia princess is driving the locals wild with curiosity.
Scandinavia.
Scandinavian royal is in London? If you and the lads can look sharp and find out more about her visit, there will be some coin for your pockets.
Righto, Mr. Holmes. If there's aught to be found, the irregulars will have it. I'll send the words out to the lads.
So he's sending out his Baker Street boys, a very common tactic by Holmes to acquire information.
Fighting form.
And there we have the Strand. Celestial phenomenon. Yesterday at the Academy of Sciences, a sumptuous dinner was held for distinguished members of the British scientific community. A central figure at the festivities was astronomer D. Sullivan. This brilliant scientist shocked the world, colleagues, and even continental rivals with his discovery of an upcoming and rare celestial alignment of 7 stars. Sullivan has calculated this event will occur in December, sometime within the next few weeks. Oh. December? Does it continue there or down here? I think here. In December, sometime within the next few weeks. This unique conjunction, as it is called in astronomical terms, will be barely visible to the human eye. Detailed observations will require special optical equipment, which only the Academy has in its possession. Even with the equipment, Professor Sullivan noted that conditions must favor a proper viewing of these stars. He took great pleasure in adding that this celestial event will provide an unexpected boon for expert stargazers. The alignment will reveal an eighth star, ordinarily concealed by its neighbors and whose existence has never been clearly established. The revelation that Fomalhaut, as it is called in ancient text, might finally be observed had to be the cause of the audience's excited shouts, unless it was the presentation of dessert at that same moment. Strange disappearance, the recent visit of the Swedish princess Ildur, will be remembered as yet another unfortunate event in a series of mishaps related to the scandal-plagued princess. We can only hope that relations between our countries will survive the strain. Among the worst of the incidents was the extraordinary affair with the chocolate auk that, which reader may recall, led to the dismissal of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The British diplomatic corps has been further embarrassed by the recent mysterious disappearance of the Scandinavian princess's personal bodyguard. This member of her inner circle visited our fair city during his spare time and never returned from his late-night promenade. The police have the greatest confidence that their inquiry will be successful, as the missing man is a striking representative of the Scandinavian race and should have been noted during his visits with the fair nightingales at the gentlemen's clubs about the town and Covent Garden. Deceased. It is with great sadness that the Northern Lighthouse Board announces the loss of their faithful employee Matthias Fernston due to an unfortunate accident. Mr. Fernston had been the security guard at the lighthouse for the last 23 years, and his demise came as a shock to all those who knew him. According to tradition, the position will stay within the family, and his nephew Bart, recently returned from India, will take over the responsibilities at the lighthouse. We bid farewell to Matthias, extend sympathies to his family, and wish all the best to young Bart. Strange fish. The day before yesterday, a bargeman notified the river watch about a strange jellyfish floating in the Thames. The watch searched the dark waters and to their shock spotted what appeared to be a human scalp. Upon closer inspection, it proved to be a wig, re-dyed in a bright red. According to a label embroidered on the wig's scalp cap, it was the property of a well-known local theatrical company. Unfortunately, the company is said to have fallen into a sad state. Its reputation is rapidly dwindling, and its actors allegedly have taken to alcoholic beverage. Some of these news articles are about their previous games and the previous cases that you solve as Sherlock Holmes in the Frogwares games. Let's laugh a bit. A man enters a butcher shop. The proprietor, a man of declining years, is cutting away at a joint of beef. The customer is stunned to realize the butcher is missing several fingers on his left hand. The butcher, seeing the shocked look of his customer, says in a shaking voice, see you looking. I tell you, I always like to put a bit of myself into the work, but with age, I'm a lot less handy. Wow. That was wow. And I think the rest is think this one is just an ad. Daring thefts. From our reporter on the continent last week, daring burglars struck several prominent hotels and private estates around Paris. The identity of the victims, as well as the nature of the stolen jewelry, is a closely guarded secret by local authorities. However, it is common knowledge that the victims were among the elite registry, and the value of the stolen articles is said to be staggering. A servant to one of those hardest hit, whose famous name we shall not mention, let slip a rather curious detail about these robberies. It seems the thief left a mysterious calling card inscribed only with the initials AL in place of the purloined gems. This is one cheeky brigand, to be sure. The Paris authorities are not releasing any additional details, though we will pursue our own sources to get the facts on these remarkable crimes. To be continued. That obviously a reference to Arsène Lupin, another famous character in literature, famous thief, that in a different Sherlock Holmes game from these developers will be the adversary of Sherlock Holmes. And I may get to playing that game as well.
I have no reason to go there.
We have no reason to go there, okay. Let's go here then and explore the Baker Street a little more. We have pigeon. Can we pick up a pigeon? Apparently not. Okay. Then we have an officer. Can we talk to the officer?
Pardon me, I'm looking for the Barnes bookshop. Would you happen to know it?
I know the place, know it well, Mr. Holmes. The bookshop is on Glentworth Street. Take your first right and then the next left, and you'll find it straight away.
Okay. Think I remember actually where it is exactly. Can I talk to any of these people? No. Doesn't give me the prompt at least. Can I talk to the puck? No.
My respects, Miss Fleming.
Oh, there's
Good
Miss
day, Mr.
Fleming.
Holmes.
Can we talk to her some more?
My respects, Miss Fleming.
Apparently not. I think the bookstore should be somewhere here. There it is. I passed it. There, Barnes Bookseller. That should be it. Let's enter.
Good morning, Mr. Holmes. How are you? I have some new novels that should interest you. A nice illustrated volume on fish and a collection of legends on piracy. They
Fish
must
and
be here
piracy.
somewhere.
Okay, and this is where I will end the very first episode, the start of the series and of this game. We jumped into the game. So far, we don't know much about what is going on, but we sure will learn a lot more. And for those who may know the game, you know that there were already a few hints dropped. Other than that, I encourage you to let me know about the all kinds of references to mostly literature that this game has, because I probably won't catch many of these, and if I miss them or forget them to point them out, just let me know down in the comments below, and let me know about them and share that with everyone who watches. I think that will be very interesting, because I know there are plenty of these in there, and the developers always have a very close eye for detail. But yeah, that will be it for today. I will continue this series as regular as I can. And I hope we can solve this case with Sherlock Holmes. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Helps me out a bunch and brings more content to you in the future. And until next time, I wish you all a great time. Bye-bye.